really appreciate you being here and the fact that you would like to have me in your ears. It's exciting that the podcast is getting some recognition and we've had some really great guests on. So for this podcast episode, I wanted to talk about the time that we live in now and how much I need to emphasize that this is a huge, huge opportunity for you to finally do whatever it is that you've always wanted to do. I mean, you have nothing in your way. I know that financially it's a tough time for some people, but if you can get by with collecting unemployment and just pulling back on expenses, sitting down and just coming up with an amazing plan to finally live the life that you've always wanted, this is the time. I had an earlier podcast. I think the title was Now is the Chance, or Now is Your Chance. But I thought that that was going to be a short-lived time, and that if you didn't jump on it when that episode was released, we were going to be back to doing whatever we were doing before all of this hit with COVID-19, and you would have lost that window. But based on what's happening in the world and how more cases seem to be cropping up, it just seems to be we're going to have this time at home to really work on ourselves and to think more about what we want to do with our lives. It really is an amazing time to do what it is that you've always wanted to pursue. For example, when this happened, I don't think I waited too long to actually kick off this podcast. I wanted to start this around 2015, and here we are in 2020. I started it, I think the first episode was March 31st of 2020. So I jumped on the opportunity to say, okay, I actually have time now away from my daily routine and my business that was really slammed and was doing great. Now I have the opportunity to go ahead and get this podcast off and running. So what I'm trying to do is encourage you to also do the same thing. I think you need to say to yourself, you won't have another opportunity like this where the whole world has been put on hold. So I would really love to see everyone put down pros and cons columns or whatever it is that's going to help you to mentally think about all of the things in your life and all of the paths that your life has taken, and look at what it was that you always wanted to do, or what it is that you want to do now that you had never thought of, but because you have this extra time to sit around and think and maybe meditate or just have some quiet time alone, that there's something that would really make you happy. There's a lifestyle that you would choose now over your lifestyle from the past. Is it you want to travel the world and make money as a photographer or a vlogger? Or do you want to do a YouTube channel on cooking or gardening? I mean, there's so many possibilities, but you just have to make the commitment to say, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go online and I'm going to learn how to put together a YouTube channel, or I'm going to learn how to put together my own podcast. Any of those things. But I think this time is so unique right now. I just feel like it eats away at me when I see people make comments on Facebook as if they don't have any choices in life and they're sitting there just waiting for the world to open back up again. And I think the time during this COVID-19 dilemma that we're in is that the time that you do have at home should be this gift to you, as if you can now create the life that you always wanted. And I implore you to just do some research, sit back and do it with yourself first if you need to, or do it with your partner because you want them involved, or you want the buy-in from them. But I don't think you should hold back on anything you've ever wanted to do, because right now I'm really enjoying my life. I have my podcast off and running. I've gotten my YouTube channel up. I'm going to the gym every day. I'm probably doing yoga 2 to 3 times a week. I'm in the gym at least 5 times a week because I believe my health is more important to me than anything at the moment. So take that, for example. If you always put off working out because you said you didn't have the time, now is the time. I mean, when we couldn't even go to the gym, I bought a jump rope on Amazon and I said, okay, I'm going to do my best to stay healthy. So I, I attempted to make a promise to myself, didn't always keep it. So I'm not going to say that I made these great commitments to myself and kept them all, but I did my best to jump rope as often as I could. I attempted to do at least 100 push ups a day when I remember to. I would always do abs, and I did it all in my house. Now the gyms have opened back up. Granted, most of them you have to wear a mask at least into the gym. And when you're walking from, let's say, machine to machine or certain area of the gym to another area. But when you're in position and let's say you're doing squats, you're allowed to take your mask off, at least at my gym during that period of time. So I don't know. I feel like I really need to spread the word to get people to start motivating themselves, get some drive to go out and do what it is that you've always wanted to do, because now is the time. I've never seen this my whole life, no matter what age you're at. All we've done is run, run, run. As soon as you were old enough to go to elementary school, you were there and you'd come home and, then you got into junior high and high school and you had homework and you had sports and it's just running, running, running and dinner and then homework and then bed. I've never had a time in my life like this where I literally don't have anything that I really need to do. Now, mind you, my booking agency business is starting to come back a little bit. So I do have some inquiries that I have to deal with and send out some contracts, but it is drastically reduced because events are non-existent. Most corporate events won't come back until maybe the spring, if that early. There's just a wedding here or there, and a few of the resorts are opening up on a minimal basis. So I am literally doing my best to use this time every day to just educate myself on all of the things that I want to do to move myself forward in life. A lot of that deals with just being an online influencer. I want to build my YouTube channel. I want this podcast to become more well known. I want to get guests on here that are more well known. And I just want to keep increasing all of that momentum that I'm working on. So once again, this is me just reaching out to you. I hope that this podcast somehow lands in your ears and you have a chance to listen to this episode and it motivates you to understand that there's a good chance we will never have a time like this in our lives ever, where we are given the freedom to sit down and start thinking about how we can live the most incredible life that we put together and we plan out. Literally, this could happen in the next month. You could just do all the things that you wanted to do, get them all ready to go and start the momentum. So when life comes back to whatever it's going to be, you can choose to jump back on the train that you were on, or you can stay on this new path. It's a self-designed life that you've thought about, that you always have wanted to fulfill, but you never had the time, or at least that was the excuse we all used. But I truly, truly believe, and I know this is a painful time for a lot of people, but I believe this was a gift. This was a readjustment of the world to stop and think and slow down and reevaluate our lives and figure things out. We've all lost people with COVID-19. So I'm not saying that this was a pleasant thing that happened to a lot of people. What's happened with COVID-19 has affected all of us differently. And we've potentially all lost someone during this time. But we have to rise to be as positive as we can and look at this as a time to take our lives to a new level, a new direction, something where we wake up every day and we love what it is that we're doing. And we love what it is that we're contributing to the world. And we smile and we're happy and we're healthy. So please, 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 if you stumbled across this and you're listening to me right now, I'm asking you to take this time to architect the life you've always wanted to live. Start planning it, and don't overplan, don't overthink, don't over criticize what you think might be the outcome. Don't be scared. Punch fear in the face and get this going and start your new incredible life. If there's any way that I can help you at all, please reach out. You know that all my contact information is in the show notes, and I will give any advice that I can as long as I feel that it can be helpful. So please get going on your new life, and you will never regret this time off. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Best to you all. Thank you so very much for listening to this podcast. It's so important to me that you've taken the time out to listen and potentially subscribe. If you have a moment, it would be great if you could share this podcast. I would also love it if you could rate it. And if you have time, it would be amazing to have a review by you. Once again, thanks so much for listening. I really, really appreciate having you here and being in your ears.